our agenda is the presentation of this year's Lorin Kerr Award. And to introduce this year's recipient, I'd like to call up Chip Hughes from NIEHS.
It's a great honor to get to be a nominator of this award for Sharon Beard. I was also feeling like in this, with some of my colleagues, we were discussing the shutdown, and in terms of the demonization of federal workers, the shutdown of our federal government, and what we've been through, I feel it's really appropriate to honor somebody who's been a civil servant for many years. And who has worked tirelessly and in the background, but to become a leader. And that's Sharon Beard of NIEHS is the honoree of the Lorin Kerr Award this year. I've known Sharon for 20 years. She's been a partner. She's just grown so much over the years since she's come to NIEHS. She started at Western Carolina University with a Bachelor of Science in Biology. She actually had an interesting stint at the Savannah River nuclear plant, where I'm not sure what she was exposed to, but thankfully it didn't do anything bad to her. Thank God. I'm always worried about that. She also came here to Boston, Dudley Street, was at Tufts. And I think really got grounding in environmental justice way back then. And when she came to NIEHS, I know that I knew that she was somebody that we wanted to make sure could work and flourish and grow in the environment of a federal government program. And thankfully, she was there at the birth of the Minority Worker Training Program. I believe that was in 1995. I remember a blizzard in Cleveland, and where we were all trapped, right? And that was the first time that we sort of dreamed of having a minority worker training program. And Sharon, was there at its birth. I think what's so great about her is that she has really had tireless dedication to low-income workers and to environmental justice communities and to people in high-hazard situations. And what that has spawned, I think, is that she's been a great leader in our department and in our federal government for environmental justice. And Sharon Beard and other partners with us, try to figure out how to build occupational health disparities to be part of the health disparities agenda. Sharon's really been a key part of making that happen. So I would like to have Sharon come up and accept her award. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you for the honor of being the 2013 Lorin Kerr Award recipient. It is great being here, especially back up here in Boston, where I went to school, got my master's degree here at Tufts. And I've worked with some wonderful people here at Tufts who really introduced me to environmental justice. And out of all departments at Tufts, the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering is where I actually got the introduction. And I wrote my capstone thesis with two individuals who are here today. Sheila Presley and Lois Adams are where they here. And I want to say thank you for that. We were able to work together to work with the WTEP Neighborhood Initiative to develop a really great program for them. Where we went and looked in the private communities, we walked the streets, we saw the contaminated properties, and we decided that we wanted to do something that probably hadn't been done in a while. We wrote a thesis on what these issues were, what the contamination was, the Dudley Street Initiative. And then we also decided we wanted to develop a citizen's guide for people who live in the area so they understand everything about contaminated properties. And then, of course, we decided, well, that's not enough. We want to go and we want to characterize 22 of these 48 hazardous waste sites. We did level 1, level 2 risk assessments of 22 of those sites. And we turned it over to the community so they could do something with it. They could figure out whether it was contaminated or not, or whether it could be used in the community to do things. So we kind of left that legacy for Dudley Street, and they've been able to do such great work there. And so that was my introduction to environmental justice, and really saying that we need to do more. The thesis was not enough. We had to actually do something for the community, and so I really enjoyed that. So from being there and then coming and working as a civil servant at NIEHS has been a blast. And I take that role seriously because I know my mom and my dad has always said you have to give back. And so that's why I wanted to work in the federal government to do this type of program. And so when I came to NIEHS in 1995, and Chip said, well, I think you might want to start looking at some of these things that we're working on in occupational health and safety. And I just got something here for you. And he gave me a 2-page conference report that said that NIEHS had to develop a minority worker training program. And he was like, how about you do that? And it was actually Chip and Diddy who sat down and worked with me, and we developed the minority worker training program. And it was one of those collaborative processes that I was like, if I did this at Dudley Street, I think we have to do the same thing with the minority worker training program. We have to bring everybody together. And that's what he was talking about as far as Cleveland in January. We brought together community-based organizations, historically black colleges and universities, union-based groups, labor-based groups, health and safety funds, and all these groups who actually have a stake in actually developing training programs to address underserved populations, to give them health and safety training and enhance hazardous materials. And so from that, we really came up with a framework to make sure that everybody was at the table, that everybody had an opportunity to contribute to the process. And we started that program in 1995. And since that time, we've trained over 10,000 workers. And it couldn't have been done without the help and support of all of the grantees who've been doing it. Linda Delp, Mitch Rosen from UMDNJ, now Rutgers, and UCLA, and Dillard University, the HBCU Consortium. They have worked in over 30 communities across the United States, in 20 states, and trained these individuals. And we've got one of the greatest success rates, I think, of any job training program. Over 70% of those individuals were working in the health and safety field and construction and environmental remediation. So I think that's one of the greatest things that happened as a result of me being at NIEHS. And so we're pushing forward with occupational health and safety, with occupational health disparities, through HHS and Racial Justice. And so I've got some of my colleagues from HHS here, Latoya Whitehead and Sharon Buchanan, and we want to continue to do this work. And so Sharon D is also here, and we encourage you to work with us so we can know what these stories are, what you've been doing, so that we'll be able to move forward. I also wanted to thank a couple of people who are also here who have been great mentors for me, like I said, Chip Hughes, some of the folks at NIEHS, Ken Olden, who really embraced environmental justice and the worker training program and the work that we've done there at NIEHS, and one of my other mentors, Marion Johnson-Thompson there. But also I have to mention Louis Stokes, because he was very instrumental in getting that program started. And Don Holmberg, Tim Fields, I can name a whole lot more people who are actually been involved, but they really helped us to move this program forward. And I also like to thank my wife Willis, who's here, who came up to Boston with me this time to help celebrate me with this award. And I really appreciate everything that everybody does here in this particular section. And I have really enjoyed growing and learning and being a part of this great organization. So thank you.